Premiere Pro's default workspace is a mess. The selection and arrangement of windows in Premiere's default workspace are so wild that in 13 years of editing in Premiere, I've never used 2/3 of them. But here's the thing, you can make Premiere work your way, just like the pros. In this video, we'll learn how to customize Premiere Pro's workspace so it actually makes sense to you. Whether you're editing social content, music videos, or client work, you'll walk away with a layout that saves time and feels intuitive. Okay, so when you start Premiere for the first time, you probably have a layout like this one. If I go to Window and then Workspaces, I'll see Learning. That's the one that we're in. Now, I started using Premiere long before they had these this Learn tab with all these different tutorials here. So I have grown accustomed to not using them. But if you're just getting started out, or if you're really curious to learn more about these really cool features, text-based editing is really cool, you should dive in. So let's real quick go through some of the major windows here. Right here, you have your project window, which is where all the files associated with your project should go. Over here, you have your sequence that you're working in. This one just right now is called horizontal. And when I move my playhead here, it impacts what's happening in the program window. If I want to see what's going on with the original clip, I double click in here and it shows up in the source window over here. So these are pretty important. Program window is extremely important. This sequence window is extremely important. Knowing where your files are is really important. There's some other things that are important. To me, what I really want to do is I want this sequence, this timeline here, to be really big. I want it to stretch across the screen as far as possible because a lot of people choose to make in and out points on all of your clips inside your assets area, doing it up here inside this window, and then dropping those clips down in here into the timeline. I prefer taking all the clips at once and dropping them into the timeline and then start cutting through there. A lot of people, that might drive them nuts, but this is one of those things about editing video is you have to come up with your own style, your own preferences, your own workflows. And then if it works for you, then great. So that said, for me, it's really important to have that timeline be stretched across the screen entirely so I can see the whole thing. So to get started, we're going to start with a really common workspace that everyone seems to have. We're going to go up to Window, Workspaces, and we're going to choose Editing. So we get a lot of tabs that I want, like effects controls, and we get a lot of tabs that I never use, like Media Browser. So I'm going to start by eliminating things I don't use, and then we're going to reposition things. Media Browser, I don't use it, peace out. Essential Graphics, I use it, let's keep it. Libraries, I don't use it, let's close it. Info, I don't use it. Effects, keep it. Markers, peace out. History, get rid of it. Okay, up here, Audio Clip Mixer, I don't use it. Close that panel. Metadata, close that panel, I don't use it. Okay, we got rid of a bunch of stuff. So how do we stretch everything across? I'm going to move some of these panels elsewhere. I like to start with our project, which also, I hate looking at it as thumbnails like this. I'm going to click down here for list view. Boom, I like that, okay. So if you click where the letters are, where the words are, the name of the window, and hold, and then drag, you can drag it wherever you'd like. So if I were to let go here, it drops it where my program monitor is, and it'll become tabbed, so you can tab between them. That's not where I want it though. If I wanted it to be just to the left of it, or just to the top of it, or just to the bottom of it, I could do that. But that's not what I want either. I want it to be tabbed with these two. So I'm gonna drag it to the center of this one. it extended the length of this. It did get it tabbed properly, but now this whole window is too big. So I'm gonna hover right here until my cursor changes, and then I'm gonna click and hold and drag. And that changes the size. I like that. Actually, come to think of it, I like to have the source window to the right of my program window, and then my effects to the left of it, and my effects controls and my project window, because then that puts me in a position where as I'm making changes to the file, the clip, I'll be able to see it reflected. I'll show you what I mean. So let's take this source window. We're gonna click and hold on this tab, and we're gonna move it to the right of the program window. Cool, source is over here, program's over here. Now I got stuff here, which also I like project to be to the far left. So I'm gonna click on it, hold it, move it there. Effects, controls, project. I also want my effects up there. So I'm gonna hold on that, move it to the middle, and I want my central graphics up there too. So I'm gonna hold that and move it to the middle. Okay, now it made my toolbar like really huge. So let's slim it down. So I'm gonna hover down here, click and hold, and drag it all the way over so it's one tall row of tools. And then over here for the meter, audio meter, I just want it big enough that it shows me the decibel numbers on the right side. So maybe about there is fine. And you can see it doing its job here. So we're in pretty good shape here. This looks pretty good to me. So I have so much real estate down here in the bottom in my timeline to drop all kinds of clips and do some work. And if I want to do something specific to that clip, I could go to effects, controls, twirl down motion. I could increase the scale of it and move it around. And I can drop effects on it. So if you liked this workspace, you could save it and come back to it later. So I'm going to show you how to do that. If we go up to Window, Workspaces, Save as New Workspace, then we have to name it. Let's call it Super Cool Editing Workspace. Perfect name. Okay. So now if we go to Workspaces, we have Super Cool Editing Workspace, which is the one that we're in. So as we get rid of some of these windows, don't stress out. They are not gone forever. You can just recover them super easily. If we just go up to Window, they are all listed right here. So if you remember, we got rid of Media Browser, for example. So I'm gonna click on that and it opens it in one of these windows here. So Media Browser's right here. I could move it right here if I wanted to, and now I have it again. So I encourage you to go through and start opening up these windows here and there and start to decide which ones do I like. And you might come up with a really cool workspace layout that works really well for you. So as you build out your workspaces, think about the kind of workflows that you have. Like maybe you come in and you're doing a bunch of editing, so you want like a really cool editing space like this that's just really optimized for cutting things. But then later in the process, you're going to hit a phase where it's time to start doing some color work. So I have, for example, a workspace specifically for that. So right now we're in our super cool editing workspace. Let's go to 16:9 color for horizontal videos. There you go. So here I have my sort of horizontal color workflow, and I was just like a couple clicks away from getting all these windows where I wanted. So additionally, this is for working in 16:9. If I go to Workspaces again, I can show you my 9:16 color workspace for editing and doing color for vertical videos. I think video production and post-production can be enjoyable. And I think if you take a little bit of time to figure out your workflows and what tools that you need and make sure everything has a place and is in its place, that you can get there. So if you're like me, or if you feel like this video saved a few minutes of your time in Premiere, please consider subscribing. Drop a comment and let me know about your favorite panel setup, and if you have any ideas of videos you'd like to see in the future. I plan on continuing to upload gear tips and editing workflows and anything that I feel like might be relevant. Basically anything I think's cool. So thanks a lot.